Hi everyone, just wanted to take a moment to talk about how to write equations in point slope form. In this case, we're going to be looking at equations in point slope form when we're given 2 points. And just as a quick reminder to everybody, point slope form, that is the form of a line when you have y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. And all this is essentially what we've done here is we've rewritten the slope formula, right? We just took, if I do that in a different color, we just took m equals, y minus y1 over x minus x1, and then we just multiplied both sides by this part. So that's all we did to get this formula. And this is another way to represent a line. It's particularly useful if you're given a slope and just a 1 point. It's also pretty close to a lot of different forms that we're going to be exploring in later sections, particularly if we were to add the y1 to both sides. Um, this very similar form here, once we do that, is going to be very, very commonplace in mathematics. So that's one of the benefits to this form is that it does give a lot more information than it kind of initially appears to. So keep this kind of idea in your mind. And as we go on throughout this class, we're going to see a very similar structure appear. But anyway, for our purposes, what we're going to be doing is really writing the equations of the lines in point slope form. I'm choosing to focus on writing the lines as opposed to drawing the graphs, just because the graphs, it's really the same thing that we've been doing, except now instead of going from the y-intercept, you're just going from any random point. So additionally, in this case, you're already given 2 points, right? So you just plot them and then draw the line through them, because between any 2 points, there's one line. So ultimately, let's get started. Again, we need to find it in point slope form. So first thing that we need to do is, well, we need a slope. So as we just wrote, slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. All right. So I'm going to plug that in. Again, it does not matter which of these I call the x1 and the y1 or the x2 and the y2, as long as I am consistent in which ones and I don't just start mixing and matching. So I can't call this x1 and this y2. That doesn't work. We have to just be consistent. So I'm going to do minus 1, minus 9, 3, minus, and then don't forget it's minus a negative 3. So we get negative 10 over, and that's 3 plus 3, which is 6. Now, I'm not going to leave it like this. I can simplify this, and I should leave this as a fraction. In general, it is easier to work with slope in fractional form, just because you're dealing with a rise and a run. So I am going to leave this as a fraction, but I do need to simplify this. So both these are divisible by 2, so that's the same thing as negative 5/3. And don't forget about your negative. It's very easy to lose your negative when you simplify. So now what we're going to do is we're going to plug it into our slope, our point slope form. And again, to make sure we're clear, that is the form that we are dealing with. So when we're plugging these in for y1 and x1, it doesn't matter which point. Once again, it really doesn't matter. I am going to pick this one because it has smaller numbers, but there's no particular reason why I'm not picking the other point. We're not necessarily doing anything with it other than writing it, so it's okay, and you just need to be careful and make sure your constant again. So you don't just, do the -3 and then the -1. That's not what we're looking for. You just have to be constant. So again, I'm going to pick either of these points. Does not matter. They are the same line. If you were to multiply everything out, you would see that they are the same line, but they are ultimately the same line. So I'm going to plug in minus a -1, right? So that's +1, because it's minus a minus. And then minus 5/3, okay? And x minus 3. Now, in the event that you were doing this on Delta Math, first of all, it will accept either of the lines, but you have to be careful with how you type this if, for the obvious reason that you have fractions. So -5 divided by 3 in parentheses x minus 3. Okay, so that should work, and we'll double check, make sure we didn't make any mistakes, and we're good. Let's do one more just to make sure that we're all set. Let's not do that one. Let's do this one. Sorry, I didn't pick that last one because it wouldn't necessarily have, it was either going to be vertical or horizontal. I looked at it quickly and I saw that one of the points was exactly the same. So I believe it was the y that was the same, right? So that would have been a horizontal line. And so when you have a horizontal line, it's just the y equals whatever the y coordinate is, which doesn't really help us with point slope form. So once again, let's look at what we're doing. We need to find the slope. I'm going to do 1 minus 5. Again, doesn't matter. I just have to be constant. -1 minus 3. So I get -4 over -4, which is equal to 1. Well, that's a lovely slope. So then we're just going to plug in points. Y minus 5 is equal to 1 times x minus 3. Now, we don't really need to do anything with the 1. But for clarity's sake, and just to confirm that we did it right, I am just going to leave it as is. 1 times x minus 3. Let's double check. And we're all set. Now, as you can see here, they didn't bother with putting the 1 in, but it doesn't make a difference because it's just 1 times anything. All right, I hope this answers any questions you might have. Let me know if you need anything. Have a great day.